So each family has a story. This story is an excerpt of the Bishop family from 61 New London Avenue. It is not the whole story, but it is a story of love, loss, loyalty, commitment, and most important, a faith in God that has sustained us and will continue to develop for many years to come because we's a good family. For those of us alive today, it all started with a young man named Clyde. And why is Clyde not up there? There we go. Sorry. It's like a delay. All right. I'll just read. Okay. For those of us alive today, it all started with a young man named Clyde Bishop Sr. None of us had the opportunity to meet Clyde, but what we learned from his story is that he was strong and resilient. Clyde was loved and he loved his family. Before we get into it, let's take a small trip back in time to understand a little more about Clyde Sr. Clyde was the son of Gertrude Bishop. We do not know his father. However, thank you to our dear cousin, Dr. James Donald Lane, who researched his mother, who was named after Gertrude. We can tell you about Gertrude Bishop, his mother. Not to be confused with Gertrude Lane, who is James Donald's mother and was actually named after Gertrude Bishop. Did y'all catch that? Yeah. Okay. Now back to Gertrude Bishop. Gertrude was the daughter of William Henry Bishop Jr. and Rachel Milburn. William and Rachel had 8 children: Sadie, Elsie, Natalie, Lydia, who was called Beulah, Edwin, Sarah, Ernest, and Gertrude. Gertrude Bishop moved to Roxbury, Pennsylvania. We know that she had possibly 3 or 4 children. Tragically, most of her children died except her son Clyde. He was the only one that survived. Clyde was born on March 9th, 1909. Gertrude died from kidney disease. In those days, it was known as Bright's disease. She was only 33 years of age. Little Clyde was just 3 years old when his mother died. After her death, Clyde went to live with and was raised by his Aunt Sadie, his Aunt Elsie, and his grandparents, William and Rachel Bishop in Newark, Delaware. We know that Clyde was loved and cherished by his aunts and his cousins. His cousin Gertrude shared with her son James Donald that she thought highly of her cousin Clyde. She said he was kind to her, and little else is known about Clyde as a young child, but we are certain that growing up in this community, he was provided with love and support. Clyde grew up and married Margaret Targhee Johnson. Clyde and Targhee have 5 children, and hopefully you can see them up there because this thing is acting weird. They were Annette Watson, Margaret Sue Cave, Janet Smith, Claudette Evans, and the Honorable Clyde Bishop Jr. Clyde Sr. also had a daughter, Doris Lambert, from a previous relationship. Now let's talk about Margaret, or Targhee as she was called. She was something special. Margaret was the daughter of Abner Johnson and Mary E. Johnson. And Mary, by the way, was also the sister to Mr. Perry, Marva Lane Bond's father. She was beautiful on the inside and on the outside. She was a talented pianist and an outstanding student. Up here we have her piano book where she learned to play classical piano. And if you, I learned piano as a child. The notes in the book are amazing, so take a look at it. She was a member of the Daughter Elks Temple here in Newark, and Margaret liked to make special meals for her children and made sure to expose the kids to as much as she could. So, if this cooperates, I'm going to go back. I have some words about Margaret from her kids. Just give me a second.
My chair is moved. of the times when we would
Can you turn that up?
I think that's about the thing that I care most about. Our family always stayed close and gathered together. I think the family gathering was the biggest thing. Because even early when we were young, my grandmother's sister from Philly, like we get together now. My grandma, his sister would come, her sister would come from Philly and come to us there, or either I remember time when we went to Philly.
We can't hear
And
that.
we used to remember going to
Can't hear.
Philly for Thanksgiving.
Can you give her the mic?
At least one trip.
You can't say it again.
The family gathering.
Can't understand it.
We can't really understand.
Okay, I'll tell you the story. She's talking about how the family used to come together just like we do today. And so often what they would do is they would come together and they would have dinner. Let me see if you can hear Aunt Janet since she's not here. Can you hear her?
Well, tell us. Tell us. Okay. You know, schools were segregated in Delaware.
It's better.
Okay. This lady came up from Washington. She taught at an elementary school. And my grandparents were very good to her while she was up there teaching. And they asked to take mother, where did they go to school? Come to think of it. Where did the Pegman go to school? Anyway, they asked to take them back to Washington to get a good education. And
was it Armstrong?
Yeah, she went to.
She went to Armstrong?
No, but she went to Dunbar. Both of them went down there to go to Dunbar.
Okay.
But Dunbar, no, my uncle, he graduated from Dunbar. My mother said there were too many. See, with people that took her, well, I can think of those people that lived over in Virginia. Huh? Sidebacks. You probably have heard of them down there in D.C. They the up the.
Well, she went to Dunbar.
Wait a minute, I'm gonna tell you. So, they took, both of them went down there. Okay, they both started in Dunbar. And the Syphaxes are mucky people. And mother just couldn't adjust to that type of, you had to be this. One thing, she was an attractive woman and she had clothes, but she wasn't the type that was, Christian. You have to do as the ones that were going to school with her. Syphaxes had to, they were that type. And mothers, she wrote home and said that she couldn't stand going to this school anymore. Now, how she ended up going to Armstrong, but, and who, I forget these other people that she met, I think it was some girl she met or something, and anyway, she left Dunbar because she didn't like it, because she didn't want to be Miss Prissy Issy.
So I wanted to share that with you because I have a picture here of Margaret when she graduated from Armstrong and her graduating class. And that is an excerpt. So what we've been doing is we've been trying to capture all of the siblings on video and get that. This is not edited. We will have it edited so it doesn't have all the background noise. But we're gathering all of these videos to preserve this history and to share it with our kids and their grandkids and so on and so forth. So I wanted you to hear a little bit about Margaret from Margaret's kids. So she was a talented pianist and an outstanding student. She was a member of the Daughter Elks Temple here in Newark. And Margaret, what Aunt Claudia was saying was that Margaret liked to make special meals for her children. And she made sure to expose the kids to as much as she could. She maybe couldn't afford a lot, but she made sure to take them out on special outings. And so the next was Annette. Annette was the oldest sibling. She is what we refer to as the matriarch of the family. She was not, hold on, because I'm not showing you her slide. I'm not good at doing both at the same time.
Multitask.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
Okay. So Ann Nat was the oldest sibling. She is what we refer to as the matriarch of the family. She was not a woman of many words, but often conveyed exactly what she needed you to know with a look or a glance.
Amen.
She is famous in Newark and abroad for her sweet potato pies and macaroni and cheese.
Amen.
But more importantly, she is known for her open door policy for the community at her home at 61 New London Road. Almost every member of this family can say that at some point in their lives they have lived or stayed at 61 New London Road, or New London Avenue.
There you go.
Ann Nat was also known as a caregiver and helped to raise numerous family and community members' children. Ann Nat was married to Ralph Henry Matthews, and of that union came 2 children, Ronald and Joan Lynn Matthews. She later married Samuel E. Watson, also known as Mr. Fats, who you see up there. And from that union, she had 2 children, Reginald E. Watson and Janice Matthews. Ann Nat had 4 grandchildren and 9 great-grandchildren. And now I'm going to tell you about Margaret Sue Cave, or Dr. Cave, as we like to call her in our family. If you were sick, if you had a pain, you called Dr. Cave, okay? So she was the second child of Clyde Sr. and Margaret, and she had a smile that could light up the entire city of Newark. She exuded confidence. Legend has it that Margaret was born so premature that she could fit into the palm of a hand. Margaret's early education started right here in this building at the New London Avenue School. She graduated from Howard High School in 1948. She attended Morgan State College in Baltimore, Maryland in her early 20s and moved to Washington, D.C. to work for the U.S. federal government Department of the Navy. There she met her husband, Alfred Cave. They were married in 1953, and she spent the next 20 years traveling abroad as a military wife and mother of 2, Alfred Cave Jr. and Sabrina Cave. She later settled in Willingboro, New Jersey in 1969, where she resided until her death in 2019. Margaret was employed for 23 years by the New Jersey Education Association. And now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Ron to discuss the rest of the family.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
I didn't know getting up here that I was going to be promoted to Dr. Ron. But nonetheless, Ronnie will try to do whatever Dr. Ron's supposed to do, since I was just introduced as Dr. Ron. Nonetheless, moving on with the family, I'm going to talk about the next sibling, which was Janet. Janet was the 3rd child of Clyde Sr. and Margaret. Janet was a strict disciplinarian. She demanded things be done decently and in order with no exceptions. She was an outstanding student and a star basketball player. She is remembered being a tough young lady who would play street football with the local boys in the neighborhood. I remember those days playing football on the street. Janet would be right out there with the boys playing football. But she still knew how to clean herself up and present herself nicely as a lady. She was an excellent student and studied at Delaware State College. She went on to work as a librarian at the Naval Officers College, which took her from Newark to Washington, D.C., where she met her future husband, Nam Smith. She married Nam and had 2 children, Sherry Yvette and Wesley Smith. Janet has 8 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. That is all we have about our Aunt Janet. Next, I'm going to talk about the next sibling, which is Claudette. Claudette was the baby sister, and she will tell you that she was just a little spoiled by her older siblings. Claudette met her lifelong love, Donald, in high school. They later married and had 3 children, Donald Jr., Darrell, Daphne, Evans. Claudette and Donald were married for over 67 years. I'll say that again. Claudette and Donald were married for over 67 years. You do not see that love and commitment as much as these days. They took their commitments to the max. And when I say to the max, the word said, till death do us part.
Glory.
That was the only thing that could part them. And Uncle Donald passed away. But they stuck to their vows and gave the true meaning, till death do us part, which we all need and can learn from today. Claudette is a proud Delaware State Hornet who received her degree in elementary education. Claudette was a founding member of the one sorority on Delaware State College campus. And yes, she was the Kappa sweetheart. She is recognized as a Pearl member of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, Inc., where she served as a member for over 68 years. She is presently served as the president of the Zeta Omega chapter and various other leadership roles. She went on to teach over 33 years at George Gray Elementary School before desegregation, and Forward Elementary School after desegregation as a first grade teacher, where she has had a positive impact on the lives of many young people. She was a dedicated volunteer at the Blood Bank and the Natural History Museum, touring kids around. She also served as a volunteer for the Delaware Social Services Hotline, Delaware State Alumni Association. Claudette has 3 grandchildren and 9 great-grandchildren. And last but not least, the only boy sibling, and the youngest, which is Dr. Clyde Bishop Jr., is a diplomat. He was the United States Ambassador to the Marshall Islands from 2006 to 2009. He is a member of the U.S. Foreign Service and is a class of Minister Counselor. He received his Bachelor of Arts in Sociology from Delaware State in 1964. He also earned a Master of Arts in Sociology from the University of Delaware in 1972 and was awarded a PhD in Urban Affairs in 1976. He is recognized as the first African American to earn a doctorate degree at the University of Delaware in what is now called the Biden School of Public Policy. Throughout his successful career in foreign service, he has been assigned to the Consular General at the United States Embassy in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, principal office in Naples, Italy, and held postings in Hong Kong, Beijing, Rio de Janeiro, and Korea. After 25 years of service, he was nominated by President George W. Bush and confirmed as a U.S. Ambassador to the Republic of the Marshall Islands. He was previously married to Michelle Bishop and had 2 children from that union, Sean and Jean, and has 2 grandchildren. He is currently married to Cynthia DePolo Bishop. I listed a boatload of credentials, but most important to us is that what we know him simply as Uncle Clyde. A loving husband, father, brother, uncle, cousin, and friend. With all the credentials and awards and travels throughout the world, he has never forgotten his roots and humble beginnings right here in Newark, Delaware, and attributes the values and the lessons that he learned growing up here in the village as a major contributing factor to his successful life. The key that holds the Bishop family together is their unwavering commitment to each other and their faith in God. The family has long been members of Mount Zion UAME Church, 100 New London Avenue, where they have served in numerous capacities such as trustee, steward, usher, choir members, Sunday school superintendent, Sunday school teachers, choir directors. Who can forget Annette serving on the kitchen committee with our famous sweet potato pie? Family and friends and community members all love Annette's macaroni and cheese. The Bishop family has come together each year at Thanksgiving and Christmas as an entire family to celebrate their love and appreciation for one another. This family tradition has been carried on for more than 60 plus years without fail. We would all pack up and go to one of our 4 sisters' homes to eat, drink, and fellowship with one another. We traveled from Maryland to Delaware, from Delaware to Jersey, from Jersey to Maryland. We all look forward to spending quality time with our extended family, and at least 2 times per year. Over the years, we have lost many of our dear members, some of them so recent that the pain of the loss is still very sharp. I prepared these slides to remember those we have lost. Those are our members up here, of Darrell, Sue, Donald, and Nam, that we have lost. And Janice, Fats, Jolynn, Reginald, Edith, and Annette. We would now like the Bishop family members to please stand. The Bishop family stands by the commitment to maintain the family bond no matter what. We do this by making sure to come together each year and celebrate our history and love for one another. I could not possibly speak about all the many outstanding members of this family in the 15 minutes allotted to Dr. Ron. So we have prepared a small video to demonstrate the Bishop family's motto,
We a good family. So hopefully you were able to partake in the macaroni and cheese and the sweet potatoes. I know it was just a little small token. But every year we come together as a family and celebrate. And this is just a brief example of what happens when we get together. And since I wasn't able to show everybody in the family, this is the way we chose to do it. You were supposed to be eating the macaroni and cheese and sweet potato now. Sorry.
She didn't tell us to save it.
That's all right. And if you want to like start bringing people up for the question and answer while this is playing, this is like 7 minutes long.
It's 12 minutes long. Like that, but do you want me to turn off the
Yeah.
sound?
Yeah.
You want to turn off the sound?
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
And let me apologize to Aunt Claudia was supposed to have a video, but the technology was not working and supporting that. But she's here. Can you stand up, Aunt Claudia, because she needs her recognition.
Thank you to the Bishop family. This has just been beautiful today. It really, really has. And we're so thankful for everybody who presented today. Now, our next room full of cousins presentations will be July 29th. That's also on a Saturday. We're trying to get 4 families. So if you want your family to be the next presenter, let us know. And you need to start now. People can tell you, you can't just put these things together in a day. So if you want to do it, and you don't know your family history, maybe we can help you find what you need to, where you need to start, those kinds of things. But we're just grateful that everybody came out. Now, let me get away from, okay. So I know that you all thanked me for this program, but I am not the one. I am certainly not the only one. We have a team. It's a small team, and we need more people on our teams to help. But our small team that comes out and does that, we plan everything and put it together, is Florine Henderson, Donna Jackson, and myself. We're the planners, but we have some foot soldiers that are here to help us all the time. Today, Wilma Jones came out and helped us get all the food together and serve. And we have to give kudos to Joyce Word. Every time we have something and we need decorations of some kind, she comes up with these beautiful centerpieces. This is our only Black History Month kind of a presentation. So she said, well, we're going to celebrate Black History Month. And we said, well, use what you did for Veterans Day. She said, no, I'm coming up with totally different ones. So Joyce, I'm putting you on notice. Next month for the Women's History Month, the colors are purple, green, and white for Women's History. We're looking forward to Joyce's, to her decorations. So, okay, you've seen all these presentations. Some of it I knew, but still was confusing. So, here's one question I had.